So I'm just gonna make a very quick minestrone soup. I'm using a very old pan, as you can see. My ingredients here, I've got potatoes diced up, carrots diced up. I've got some bacon, traditionally done with ham, but I don't have any ham in my fridge. I've got some tomato puree, homemade. I've got some kidney beans, and I have some olive oil. So these are my ingredients, and I've got my pan on high heat. Yeah. So I'm gonna start off by adding a generous amount of olive oil to the pan. This is extra virgin olive oil. Any brand is fine. And then once the olive oil heats up, I'll throw my bacon in there. You want to hear that sizzling sound. You want the pan nice and hot to prevent the bacon from stewing instead of frying. At this stage, I'm gonna add in about a teaspoon of pepper. I started off with about 500 grams of bacon, and I'll add in a generous amount of salt, about a teaspoon at least. That'll help draw out the moisture in the bacon and help it fry and crisp up quickly. So I'm making minestrone soup. It's an Italian soup, very simple kind of soup for the colder months. It's a rainy day over here. It's rainy, it's dark and grey and gloomy, and it's very windy out there. And a minestrone soup will be very perfect for this kind of weather. I would usually use fresh garlic for this kind of meal, but I don't have any in stock at the moment. I do have some garlic powder, however, so I'm going to throw that in, about a teaspoon worth of garlic powder, and just stir that in. You want that flavor to go through the food, so you want to fry the garlic powder with the bacon to enhance the flavor of the garlic. Oh, that smells delicious. Smells so good. Garlic, bacon, olive oil, match made in heaven. So at this stage, our bacon has started to crisp up, but it's not quite there yet. To enhance the flavor, we want this bacon to be able to fry for much longer, so all the fat renders and we get crispy bits of bacon in there, sort of on this color right here. That gives the minestrone soup a bit of a smoky flavor, which is quite nice. It's gaining a bit of color. You can see those bubbles on top. That's the moisture in the bacon evaporating. And very shortly, we should be able to add the rest of our other ingredients. Okay, so as you can see, most of the moisture in the bacon has evaporated. The bacon is starting to get crispy. We don't want it too crispy. The fat has rendered and the meat is much leaner, so that way you don't end up with fatty bits of bacon in your soup. Like I said earlier, minestrone is traditionally done with ham. However, I do not have any ham in my fridge, and so I'm substituting the ham with bacon. Yeah. So at this stage, the bubbles are starting to reduce. The bacon is much darker in color. Yeah. If you took this out of the pan and left it to cool down, it will be crispy. So at this stage, I believe it's safe to add in our celery. I've got about 2 cups of diced celery. I'm making quite a big pot of soup because we love this soup. So that can go in now. Yes, so our celery is in. That's about 2 cups or roughly half a kilo. I like to add the celery in first before adding the other vegetables, since it's quite hard and it takes much longer to soften up. So it's one of the first vegetables I like to put in the pan to give it a great opportunity to cook through and soften up, as we don't want crunchy bits of vegetables in our soup. So we'll leave this to fry off for say another 2 to 3 minutes and we'll come back to it. Okay, I'm back now. So now I'm gonna add in my carrots. I've got about a kilo of diced carrots. You don't have to dice them this small. Sometimes I dice them much bigger, but I had a bit of time today, so I thought I'll cut them into smaller pieces. Love carrots, so I tend to use a lot of carrots in my minestrone soup. And I find this, I don't have to add any sugar to my soup, since the sweetness of the carrots cuts through the acidity of the tomatoes. I'll stir that through. Okay, so here also I've got about a kilo of diced potatoes. Any potatoes will do. I use 5 potatoes in this instance. And like I said earlier, you don't have to cut them so small. At times, depending on time limitations, I cut them big and they still cook perfectly. Just takes a bit longer on the stove, but that's fine. As long as all your veggies are cut to an even size, you shouldn't have any problem in regards to how well they cook. They should all cook within the same amount of time. Okay, so we'll mix this through. We'll mix it through and leave it to fry for a bit. All the cooking from the beginning right to this stage is being done on the biggest burner I have on my stove top, and it's all being done on high heat right through to this stage. So I'm gonna let this fry for about 5 minutes before I add in my other ingredients. Allowing it to sit on the heat and fry speeds up the softening of the carrots and the potatoes. So that's why I'm leaving it here to fry on its own before I add my other ingredients. In the meantime, I've got my kettle boiling because I'm supposed to use some sort of stock, like vegetable stock or whatever stock you prefer. However, I do not have any liquid stock in my pantry. I do not stock liquid stock in my pantry. So I've got some powdered gourmet stock, vegetable stock, and I'm going to use some of that with the hot water from my kettle. You don't always have to use hot water. However, I find when I pre-boil my water, it keeps the temperature of the meal I'm cooking high, and I don't have to wait for my food to come up to boil. The temperature stays high and my food cooks quicker. This is a midweek meal. It's a Tuesday where I am, and it's one of the quick meals you can prepare. Kids love it, adults love it, everyone in the family enjoys it. Yeah, so you don't want to be spending a whole lot of time on your meals after a long day at work. So we're keeping it very simple. Very, very simple family dinner. It can't be had as lunch. And if you're very keen, you can have it as breakfast. It makes a great breakfast. Minestrone soup makes an amazing breakfast. So it's been about 5 minutes. At this stage, the carrots, the potatoes, everything in the pot has gained heat. Everything in the pot has gained heat. I'm going to add about a tablespoon worth of my vegetable powder stock. And at this stage, I'm going to add in my tomato puree. This is a 500 ml tomato puree. It's homemade from fresh tomatoes. Just fresh tomatoes cooked on the stove, blended, strained to remove the seeds and reduced. I've got about 500 ml of kidney beans. These were big, cooked from dry beans as well, homemade. Stir it all through. Stir, stir, stir. If you're using the canned stuff of the tomatoes, I'll suggest you use the diced tomatoes or tomato crushed. About 2 cans, 2 of the 400-gram cans, and 2 cans of the kidney beans with the liquid drained. So we'll wait for the kidney beans and the tomatoes to heat up as well before we add our boiling water from the kettle. So it's been about 2 minutes. That's just my son playing in the background, if you can hear him. I'm gonna add in my boiling water. That speeds up the cooking process. Just added about 1.5 liters of boiling water. Okay, so it's been about another 2 minutes and my food is hot. The pot is hot, it's boiling. Just gonna turn it on low heat at this stage. And we're gonna check the softness of the vegetables. So I'll say it needs possibly about another 5 to 10 minutes on the stove, just on low heat, simmering away to soften the carrots, potatoes, and celery in there. Once the vegetables are all nice and soft, we'll add in the pasta. I'm using macaroni pasta, which is what I've got on hand, and that should take maybe another 5 to 7 minutes to soften, and then we'll throw in some parsley to finish it off. So I went and harvested some fresh parsley from my garden. Always grow your own herbs if and when you can. Fresh is always best. I'm gonna chop these up nicely and they'll go in my minestrone towards the end. Okay, so I'm back now. It hasn't even been 10 minutes. It's been more like 5 minutes. My potatoes and carrots, celery, they're all very nice and soft at this stage. So I'm just gonna go ahead. Hello. Yes. I'm just gonna go ahead and add in my macaroni pasta. You can use any pasta on hand. It doesn't matter. I'm just using things out of my pantry to create a nice dinner. Yeah, just add it in. That's about a cup of macaroni pasta. So at this stage, we're just waiting for the pasta to cook through. And then we'll throw in some parsley, fresh parsley. And yeah, then I'll be ready to be served. You can have this with a bit of nice crusty bread if you want, and some olive oil. However, I'll not be having mine with any of that because it's got enough carbohydrates in there already with all the potatoes. Don't need any more additions. It's a meal on its own. Our pasta is nice and soft. It's only been about 5 minutes. So I'm gonna turn off the heat. The pasta will continue to cook and swell up and absorb the beautiful, delicious juices of the minestrone. So it doesn't need to be cooked for much longer. It's nice and soft already. I'm gonna go ahead and throw in the fresh parsley, chopped nice with stem and all. And I'm just gonna mix it through. Yeah, mix it through nicely, and that's it. Minestrone done. So that's it. Simple soup, minestrone topped with some grana padano. You can also use parmesan flakes. Shaved parmesan is fine as well. Simple soup, comfort food, full of vegetables, good for you, healthy for you. Done and served in under 20 minutes. What more could you ask for? Enjoy. And I'm surely gonna enjoy this.